What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition, the return of Tuesday night bar fights. This is going to be our first appearance of Tuesday Night Bar Fights since March of 2021. And what else would we be bringing you but another Hero Series championship match? Tonight, we are excited to be bringing you the matchup between one seed Neji Boston versus one seed Always Just in Time. The two teams facing off Clown Town for Neji and another pit of misery for Always Just in Time. I am Ron Mexico, and I am happy to be here with my co-caster Geranium Battle and our op Dr. Fish.
It is a pleasure to cover this match with you, Ron. We're going to cover the decks and maybe some possibilities in just a second, but I think there's a lot of similarities that I want to mention about these two players. I mean, both of them were on the same hero team last season and have split up. Both of them also were originally from Boston and have moved to the Pacific Northwest. So perhaps we're going to see some similar ideas come from them in this match as well.
You never know. We've got some classes with a decent amount of flexibility that the players have brought as well, especially more in Priest and Warlock. Warlock recently has been featured with some extra spicy techs if you've watched any recent streams. Priest with a lot of different options. On Justin's side, Rogue and Druid also pretty flexible. Demon Hunter and Paladin for Neji a little bit more kind of confined to some typical brings, but there's still some options for some spice. So close list always brings us some interesting options for both players.
Yeah, Priest in and of itself has four, maybe even five competitively viable decks that have weight and have things that they can do against the other decks in these lineups. So, are we going to see a fast Priest from Neji, maybe to counter sort of a curse implock possibility from Justin? Are we going to see a slow Priest trying to counter the Priest on the other side, or maybe even a possible Miracle Rogue? Or there's lots and lots of different possibilities for Priest, and it's also possible we just see it banned. So.
Yeah, maybe the players have watched your hero match from last Sunday's stream and like, ah, you know what? I don't want that happening to me. Let's ban that. If it were me, if I had to make a prediction, and also if I was either player, I would be 100% of the time, I think, banning the priests on both sides. Just get it out of here. Don't want to deal with it, and dive into the rest of the matchups.
And it actually seems like it has been a double Priest ban, uh, as as Justin is mentioning in our team server. So it is down to just the Warlock being shared here, and then whatever these other decks are going to be. I know that DH has a little bit of flexibility. I know Rogue has a little bit of flexibility right now, and then Druid has the two extremes, aggro or ramp. So those choices might make a huge impact in how this match plays out.
Absolutely. Will be exciting to see what directions the players are going in, what their prep has yielded for them for what they think the edges might be that they can find. Excited to dive into it and see. First off, though, if you had to call it Geranium, what do you think is going to be the lead off for each of these players?
Man, I mean, if I were Neji, I would look at the stats on that Paladin and I would say, it's green all the way, baby. There's no losing matchups. And, maybe forcing Justin to come up with that winning matchup and forcing a deck out of the way at the beginning might be what Neji's strategy is going to be. Whereas for Justin, there's always the possibility of sort of figuring out what deck is least valuable for you, and maybe that's going to be the Druid. Maybe just saying, hey, this Druid doesn't have great matchups. It has some 50-50s into things.
Mhm.
Um, and that might just be what the druid is this time, and so that might come out. So paladin versus druid is maybe my guess, but could be completely random, honestly.
Solid guess. I definitely like the paladin lead from Neji, and there's just like sometimes different schools of thought in Hero when you have like something you consider to be favorable across the board, or if you don't have that but you have a few counters lined up. For instance, I see Justin has a rogue, which could probably counter the demon hunter,
Mhm.
leaving Warlock less necessary to try to counter Demon Hunter and has some reasonable matchups and is just a strong deck overall. I would expect a Paladin versus Warlock to start off game one, but we'll find out shortly.
Yeah. So both players actually sent me the ban. Double priest for both, so no priest for either player. So definitely gonna have an exciting matchup here. I'm gonna send the players off to play.
Sounds good. Yeah, as
So
expected,
yeah.
the double priest ban, no big surprises here, as Geranium already commented. And we're just gonna be seeing what these other classes can do. Who needs priest anyway? I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm fairly happy to see no priest.
Mhm. Yeah, and so for those watching from the stream, always just in time is going to be first to spectate, and Neji Boston will be on the top of our screen. So we'll wait on the spectate to come up, and then I will get the match underway.
Uh, Actually, Ron, since you are maybe the DH expert in this call, uh, I'm actually wondering if, in this meantime, do you have an idea which DH it would be best for Neji to bring?
Especially with a priest ban, I would expect that he's not going to bring the aggro version, and he'll just go with the Fel Relic Demon Hunter. Um, I don't think Neji thinks of that deck too highly right now, but it's Hero Series, so he's not required to win with it. And that deck certainly has some nasty high rolls and can beat anything if it draws right. So I would anticipate he's going with the Relic version of Demon Hunter, and primarily going to try to catch the druid because rogue and warlock, most builds of rogue and warlock that are common and competitive are going to give the demon hunter a hard time.
Oh, you did say one thing correct there, and that's catching the druid, which is exactly what this aggro demon hunter looks to be doing in game one here from Neji.
Go figure.
Um, no paladin. I did guess druid right, I guess, but I'm not particularly happy to see uh our druid have to face against the aggro demon hunter. Um, no 2 mana 5/4 in the start though.
So definitely, an interesting leadoff decision from both players here. We thought totally different classes would be the lead, and Neji with the technically early advantage, having the demon hunter, whichever version he chose, is generally happy to face a druid.
Justin choosing to maul away the 3 attack rusher, and instead draws into the dozing kelp keeper, which would be a great answer to the 2 mana 5/4 if he had one.
My spectate's
Meanwhile,
still a little bit bugged, but okay, I'm finally in here. We see
yeah, meanwhile,
Neji. Yeah, some decent options on turn one, but nothing really what he wants yet. Just gonna try to get some cards out of hand.
yeah, definitely preparing for as big of a draw off that 4 mana card as possible. We're going to see Justin glut up his hand in just a second here with the Jerry rig, so it's really going to be one-sided on that.
Okay, Jerry Rig gonna draw a couple of nourishes, aquatic form, possibly useful for next turn to see if he can find a wild growth to play on turn three. Shouldn't realistically be any other plays, but Jerry Rig just spending his time thinking about it a bit.
And here we see, I mean, perhaps just consistent enough of a start from Justin. There's no 3 or 4 right now, although turn 4 looks to be um, maybe something we'll find off of aquatic form. But for Neji, this Metamorphin is definitely going to be necessary to push a bunch of the damage because of the 40 starting health.
Yeah, Neji finally finding a card that is useful and gets him on board with the draw of the Metamorphin, but really brutal start right now. Just nothing he wants to see. And look at Justin here with the text. We see there's an Abominable Lieutenant in this Druid deck. Possibly a plan for Druid facing a Paladin.
Yeah, wouldn't think that would be a an anti-aggro demon hunter tech for sure.
Not
But
quite.
seeing the Innervate be picked up, this is actually going to be a huge next turn. Innervate into the rampant growth also wakes up the Dozing Kelp Keeper, allowing him to start taking over this board. And then it's off to the races with a Topior follow up. So
Also, Neji finally finding another useful card to go along with that Sightless Magistrate in hand. The Dispose of Evidence is extremely valuable to get a card out of your hand and bring your hand size lower to draw more with the Magistrate. Decides on the Fury to toss back. So Neji's turn 4, pretty much already spoken for. Meanwhile, Justin, there's that Wild Growth he was looking for last turn, but no big deal with the Innervate. Able to, of course, ramp up, wake up the Rusher, clear the minion, gain a little bit of armor, push face. All good things for what the Druid wants. More
and
mana, good.
this is actually big for Justin because going to the turn 4, Neji doesn't want to play that 5-4 into a 4-1. So makes him have to slow down quite a bit and maybe even send this damage into the 4-1. That's not going to be something that Neji will want to do.
So absolutely goes with the Chaos Strike, finds a very solid card here to fill out the rest of the mana on this turn. Gets more board presence, clears the board. But Justin's not even close to under enough pressure to dissuade him from playing this Topior, I think.
Yep. And then the following turn, I mean, enrich a nature spell already, drawing a bunch of cards, finding more nature spells. Probably going to clear off whatever pressure Neji puts up. And Neji has a lot of draw coming up, but not as much damage.
Yeah, Neji's clunky start looks to be really putting him kind of behind here significantly in his overall game plan. Topior hits the board, and Justin's pretty much with those nature spells going to make sure that no board ever
Whoa.
sticks.
Okay, that's a really big pickup, though.
Massive
This
top deck.
predation. This predation allows him to both clear off the Topior and get the full 5 draws off of this
Literally the
Magistrate.
perfect card that Neji could draw off the top here. Now the decision is, do we ever care about the 5/5? I think you might just have to send everything face right now. You gotta go in because you're running out of time to kill this Druid.
Oh man, and Dispose of Evidence, a great top deck as well here, allowing him to get 2 more 1/1s. Just push board as much as possible before the 3/3s take over the game.
Yeah, seems reasonable. Also, he could hold it and say, I don't need the other 2 1/1s because maybe my board's just getting full cleared anyway. But if there's ever a time to make that decision and say I need to have as big a board as possible, it's right now. Does in fact elect to go with the Dispose of Evidence. Toss back the Metamorphin most likely. And all face. Get him.
Yeah, I mean, Dispose of Evidence also secretly a little bit more powerful because the 3/3 now Vicious Slither Spear will trade off with one of the whelps. The Shrubagazers, I mean.
All right, and here comes the Enrich. We'll see if we get more cheap nature spells. Well, Miracle Growth is a nature spell, but it's not cheap. Renathal, a terrible draw for Justin, does find another Druid of the Reef, so decision time. A Wild Growth summons a single rushing 3/3. Two Druid of the Reefs gives you two rushing 3/1s if you would like.
Or may even just choose to hero power and save one of the Druid of the Reefs if that would be the best target. Um, I mean, here already you can clear off the three biggest minions.
I like the decision from Justin. Just go ahead and get more mana as well. Take the clears on the scariest minions. Leave up 4/1/1s. And say we go again next turn, probably with a Miracle Growth and hope for armor. He'd have exactly enough mana if he draws the 2-mana armor card. Neji, not a whole lot of complex decisions here. Just play all the playable cards, get cards out of your hand, draw, send face damage, go in.
Sigil of Alacrity, I feel like is not a normal include, but perhaps I just haven't seen the deck enough.
It's not a card that I've ran in aggro DH before, but definitely seems like a reasonable inclusion. 1 mana to get your more procs off of Sitheno. Uh, Gets you an additional draw and a discount. Discounts can be huge for a deck like this as well. Interesting inclusion. Debated on taking a trade to clear up the 3/1 and just saying,
Wow.
no, I need all the damage.
Okay, and now this is a huge turn back from Justin. Big taunt on the other
Here's
side,
the
and
Miracle
all
Growth.
the
We'll see
nature
what he
spells in the world.
finds.
Whoa, Kalak is in this deck?
Interesting. Planted
Okay.
Evidence could still be huge for Justin. Feral Rage does not summon a 3/3, but does gain 8 armor for 1 mana this turn. And none of
Yep.
these are nature spells anyway.
Either that or playing the Druid of the Reef. But yeah, gaining 8 armor seems insane.
And Justin wisely taking gain 8 armor, clearing up a few more things, a big taunt in the way. This is going to be difficult for Neji to try to push through. Although he does have the Dread Prison Glaive.
And not much
No,
else.
yeah, no ways to really get it high enough to cash in the high health Kelp Creeper as a damage towards Justin's face.
Yeah, only the Fell Barrage, and that Fell Barrage cannot help deal with this 10-10. So the 10-10 is going to be sticking around, and that's not good for Neji.
Yeah, this looks like really a full stabilization for Justin here. Effectively at 22 health with a 10/10 taunt makes it pretty much 32 health now. Justin with all the cards, all the mana. Neji running out of gas, running out of options, and yeah, gonna have a really tough time finding a path to victory here.
Yep. Not even be surprised to see Justin okay with milling a card and playing Druid of the Reef, Druid of the Reef, Miracle Growth the following turn, getting another 10-10 taunt. Really just already Neji showing he's not able to get through this. So how about another one?
And Neji looks like he has to gamble here on the Fell Barrage killing the Kelp Creeper. All these minions are at 2, so this could whiff. It needs to hit the 10 attack, and it does. So Neji would have just been dead on the other side if that hadn't hit correctly. But still in a very difficult to win state.
Yep. I mean, we're going to see the board get cleared if Justin wants, and another 10-10 get played if Justin wants. There's really not much for Neji to do on the other side. The weapon to deal damage by killing a minion is gone, so even this Kolak looks like a pretty juicy option.
Yeah, there's so many choices for Justin. I might just go double Druid of the Reef to clear up the 2 um, scaling minions, leave up the 5/4, and just slam down another Miracle Growth and say I don't care
Yep.
about burning a card. You just get a 10/10, get another Rusher. Can full clear the board even.
Oh yeah. And it looks like Justin is agreeing with that.
You might not even burn a card if you draw an Innervate.
There's Guff. Yeah.
No
More
Innervate,
armor
but
gain.
yeah, easily enough, I think, to put Justin so solidly ahead. The Druid picks up the unfavorable Game 1 victory. Demon Hunter is down for Neji, and he is left with a Paladin and a Warlock.
Yeah. This looks like it's probably going to be Curse Implock on the rebound. Curse Implock probably the most favorable over Druid, although Paladin also looking favorable on ladder stats. So it's up to, we see Kolak in Justin's deck. Maybe there's even more spicy tech in our future.
True. Kolak and Abominable Lieutenant. So if Neji queues up something like Paladin next, Justin appears to be at least somewhat prepared for it with some spicy options.
Yes, and perhaps even just Miracle Growth. Keep your hand full. Maybe burn some cards will be enough to fend off the curses. We'll have to see in a second what Neji's even queuing up.
Decision time for Neji. Definitely a tough pill to swallow, leading with the Demon Hunter, catching the Druid in the matchup he wanted, and then just abysmal draws from the Demon Hunter in the early game. Just kind of made it near impossible to get that victory. So, time to reset, figure out your game plan from here, line up your counters as is common for Hero Series. And the players are off for game 2. Neji decides to go with the Warlock.
Eh,
Justin still on the Druid.
And yeah, I mean, it looks like a classic Curse Implock. At least seeing the brand, seeing the Fiendish Circle here.
Nothing out of the ordinary in this opening mulligan for Neji. Standard Curse Implock for sure. We've already seen Justin's Druid and some of the cards it has. We know there's at least a few spicy attacks in here, but as far as this mulligan is concerned, just going to throw it all back because none of it ramps.
Okay, and very importantly in Neji's hand, we do see the library. So library into Fiendish Circle is probably going to just roll this game unless Justin finds something incredible.
Yeah, really good starting hand for Neji now. The opening didn't look great, so we threw it all back, and now he's got a nasty curve with Flame Imp via Library and Fiendish Circle as a one,
Oh,
two, three, and finds another via Library. Oh my goodness. Justin
okay.
might have a tough time here.
You gotta be scrappy with scraps.
Well, I
Naturally,
may not
Jerry
be
Rig
getting
on
what I
two.
want. The stream is definitely going to get what they want in an extended series because Vile Library is almost definitely going to be too much for Druid to handle, especially with no early board contention, no rushers.
Decision time for Neji though, because this 2-1 is exceptionally frustrating for 3-2 on board. Ideally, he would have wanted to push the 3-2, play the library, and next turn play the Fiendish Circle, and then use the buff with the minion already on board to cash in extra damage. It's not like you ever take this trade here, but Neji might be considering, a Vile Library and buff right now
If
to keep
he
the
does
minion
go for the
alive.
buff right now, it's interesting. It leaves open the option for Justin to get a very lucky early, like spammy Arcanist, and clear off all the 1 health minions.
And Neji does go for the buffs, so the
Oh,
window is opened there. Perfect top deck for Justin here. Everything you want to do on turn 3. Play Wild Growth. Be able to play your Rampant Growth right on turn 4 without having to commit the Innervate. Because he has it, he's got other options though.
it's not even just that. Wild Growth here allows Justin to go Aquatic Form next turn. and possibly find Spammy. So things may be a little bit prophetic in a second.
No surprise to see the wild growth come down. And Justin just going to take the trade right now. Put this minion at a 4-1 to allow for the Spammy to be an easier clear. Neji, though,
Okay.
with this top deck, no longer has to just play the Fiendish Circles since there's not an active library. Gonna hold it back, sets up his own library coin Fiendish, and no easy spammy clear anymore.
Okay, well, Justin's going to take this kill on the 4-1 while he can get it, for sure. And
Yeah, no sense using that aquatic now. Didn't have to dig, so just ramp and clear.
yep, and next turn probably a Miracle Growth. Seems like a
Yeah.
very strong opening. I mean, could even Topior, honestly.
But Gerania, we are going to see a very, very big cultist.
Yeah. I mean, this cultist is going to be just a little bit bigger than the Miracle Growth taunt will be.
That is an 11-12, sending 11 upstairs, and there's the curse as well for Justin. Justin can try to hold off a little bit with the Miracle Growth and find something. Play a Topior, doesn't quite do enough.
Aquatic
Guff
form
not
to
enough.
find the scale of Onyxia would clear it off. But just
Justin just
saying
wanting to
taunt
play that
enough.
9-9 though. Get the draw. And things look a little rough for Justin here. Is this already over?
I mean, it's not over. The drag belows are going to certainly be a lot of damage, but
Justin's going to be alive at 2 health if
yeah.
Neji does the exact setup to clear this, trading 3/1/1s using a Grimoire, exactly what he elects to do. 2 curse cards in hand as well. So Justin not only needs to get through this 11-12 and stop it from sending crazy damage. I did the math wrong, it's actually at 3, not 2. Yeah, he also needs to keep his hand full or he's going to die to the 2 curse cards that Neji can exactly play on the next turn. I
There's the
don't
scale.
see a
Well,
path.
yeah, there was the scale, so he could have killed it last turn had he gone looking. But this is going to be too little, too late. Perhaps an abominable lieutenant, if he can find that off of the Finley, that may be Justin's only hope.
Is there a planted evidence make this minion dormant play Guff out? It's very fringe at this point. Justin is absolutely on the ropes. Neji, having to counter Warlock to Druid here in a really good spot, and it seems highly unlikely for Justin to get out of this, no matter which line he takes.
Justin could go looking with another planted evidence. That's not going to be it, but Scale of Onyxia, clear off the 11-12, and then planted evidence, find the armor again would be enough. But yeah, unfortunately with this, he is leaving one more target on board for this dragged below, and there was cultist behind it anyways, so.
Yeah, it was a guarantee. I mean, Cultist could have been played and then Drag Below played on the Cultist, so there were no options. It's a very, very small path that Justin could have found, but as it is, Neji takes the victory. Game 2 going to the Warlock, and we're heading to Game 3. Justin now on the choice of bringing a Rogue or Warlock to combat this Warlock.
Yeah, so Warlock mirrors are going to be pretty swingy, just whichever side does end up rolling higher. Getting the Vial libraries early, basically. But Rogue has some options that are quite good into Warlock. So if Justin did elect to bring, for example, I believe Shark Rogue or like Miracle Rogue, those are going to be much more aggressive. And might have a better chance.
Right, definitely favorable for both Shark and Miracle Rogue into Warlock right now. So if that is what Justin decided to go with his Rogue, highly likely that we see that get queued up for the game 3, so Justin can have his counter ready to go.
But if it is one of those two, Shark or Miracle Rogue, then the Paladin on Neji's side going to have a very easy time in game 4. So
The nature of hero. Back and
yeah,
forth we go. Counter, counter, counter.
so it really depends. Did Justin bring this Rogue maybe to beat the Paladin, or was it to beat this Warlock? And that will determine a lot.
Oh, and Justin, it's a rogue, but he actually rolled the only possible class he could have to even
Okay.
give Neji pause in the mulligan.
That's crazy because Neji did pull one of the cards in the matchup, the board clear right there. So might mean Neji keeps that, even though it would be terrible into the Rogue.
Very, very funny to see exactly this outcome pan out. And because we see the stenographer in Justin's hand, we can say almost certainly this is going to be a Miracle Rogue that Justin has brought here. So the counter lines up well, and the stats are in Justin's favor for this game.
Yeah. As for Justin's hand, I mean, Bone Spikes in this specific hand right now aren't going to find many early minions. Um, so might be a full pitch. Yeah, most of it pitched the way it looks like, and Neji electing to draw into a minion for that Bone Spike to hit.
All right, Flame Imp on 1. Neji knows how to play Imp Warlock, that's for sure. Getting these high attack minions out as early as possible. And
Neji
Justin,
did not. Sorry.
what's that?
Sorry. I was going to say Neji did not keep the Grimoire of Sacrifice as the hedge into the Warlock. Instead, rightly assuming maybe that it was Rogue.
Yeah, I mean, you see that your opponent brought Rogue, so even though you see that you're facing a Warlock to start, you're like, nah, that's not a Warlock. And Justin reveals it right away with the Cutlass trade into the deck. Both players know what is happening now at this stage. And Neji getting to push some early damage, developing board a little further. The Rogue just gonna hang back for a bit, draw cards, assemble
Oh,
something crazy, and that's starting to look good.
yeah, something crazy indeed. That is a problem, maybe probably a turn 3 Edwin. But on Neji's side, that is a huge board. A lot of damage being sent face and might be too much.
Great start for Neji here. Decision time for Justin. You know, coin, Bone Spike, Edwin is potentially an option.
Additionally, an option
I
might
guess
be
you could.
just making the
Yeah,
hugest ghost you've ever seen with this Sinstone Graveyard, and Warlock is
lead the
not good at
spike.
dealing with huge minions.
Okay, down comes Edwin. And Justin's going to have effectively 1 mana to work with if he elects to drop this Edwin right now.
Maybe going with the Sinstone, he can make it extremely huge because of this Maestra is going to be able to be played multiple times. No,
Edwin
going
it
for Edwin,
is.
going for consistency.
And a whiff, unfortunately, for Justin. Probably at this point, just going to decide to shadow step this Edwin and set up for a big turn 4.
Yeah, and probably going to decide to take 1 extra damage, not play the backstab. We'll see if that costs him.
We've got 6 already on the board here for Neji, but no super aggressive follow-up just yet. Justin wants to minimize damage, so throws out that backstab too. Is this
And
a
roll out the
tempo brand
curses.
play? No, Neji just wants to tap.
Wow, and that is a drag blow or an abyssal wave into Lady Darkvein. That is a lot of extra damage on the backswing. Neji is
All right,
drawing
Edwin
very well.
attempt number 2. There's the null that Justin wants to see. Zero mana card, but unfortunate on the next draw with Draka, can't be played. Gonna go fishing. Not thrilling options here either.
Yeah. I mean, might just choose to make, I think, like a 6/6 ghost. Just by coining out this Sinstone Graveyard, going with the Shadow Step on the Knoll.
Yeah, picks a Shroud. This is decent, right? You get the Knoll to clear up a few things by the nature of its rush. You have a reasonably well-statted Edwin. You've also got the Graveyard that's now pulling a 7/7 here. So quite a strong board for Justin.
Oh,
Neji would have loved to see that library last turn or the turn
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, tried to tap and find the library, could not get it, and instead, we're probably going to see maybe even just this Edwin traded off here with the dragged below, set up the Dark Vein a little bit, but not a ton of damage after that.
And I mean, here's where we can really see the reason that this rogue is so favored into the Warlock, even with a pretty clunky early start for Justin and taking a lot of damage as the Imp Block was kind of snowballing an advantage. Now the board is really hard to fight for the Warlock here. Neji just gonna try to cash in as much damage as possible.
Yep, he's going to get looks like 5 damage to face if he wants, or he's going to do a bit of trading. Just clear off all the possible damage because he knows he has some guaranteed curse damage on the backswing.
Okay, probably the better line here, not to just go full face with Wild Abandon. You know, buffing, taking out a couple minions, clearing the Edwin, and Justin left with just the 7/7 to push damage with. That Door of Shadows, though, is infused. We see Shroud coming down, getting double Stenographer.
Not
Terrible
what we want to
outcome for
see.
Justin. Holding the Draka and the Maestra, knew that out of the 3 minions remaining in his deck, one was a Knoll, really wanted the Knoll, didn't
Okay.
find it.
Could have tried, I mean, could have really sent it on the Door of Shadows if he got the preparation there. It would have been a huge turn for Justin. But in this case, holding back a little bit, able to, of course, pick and choose and do that next turn.
Yeah, definitely a reasonable choice with the Sinstone Graveyard about to wake up here. Justin's set up for a really strong turn 6. Neji getting the Dark Vein down with the extra curse cards lined up from the Shadow summons from Dark Vein. Another graveyard for Justin. We'd likely
Yeah.
see the Door of Shadows lead. And we'll figure out the turn from here.
Wow. Is that lethal? No, not quite. 1 mana off. Okay.
Probably not what Justin wanted to see, even though it does represent a lot of damage, since that's just a bit more expensive than what he was hoping for. There was one Shroud in the deck that he could have found, which would have been a disaster. Tooth, maybe not great, but Bone Spike, other Gone Fishing, other Door of Shadows, other Shadow Step, other Backstab as options. Very disappointing, I think, for Justin to see the double Wicked Stab.
So yeah, that would be lethal if Justin does not do something to this board.
All right, Curse hits. Neji's minion. Justin
Okay, yep,
just gonna
playing out the
toss this curse out.
Okay, yeah, getting
Other
the
curse.
3 damage curse out of there and clearing the board in the process.
Okay, so good enough for Justin. Gonna make a 4/4. Still has a 7/5 on board. Taken some significant curse damage, but not enough yet.
Yes, and
Neji,
maybe,
unfortunately, no way to clear the 7 attack.
yeah. More importantly, nothing in Neji's hand looks very playable. Um, can tempo out some minions. Bram Bronzebeard plus the mischievous imp there is a lot of threat on board, but just leaves him dead to what's in Justin's hand. We know, or actually Neji knows, that there is a wicked stab in there. So
Yeah, I think probably the only line is what Neji's considering here. The wave will at least take the 4 damage off the board. He knows that Justin's holding a wicked stab, but most likely he would think he's not dead just yet with what Justin has represented as so far a fairly clunky hand.
yeah, and unless Justin draws like a prep or something, he's not going to find the damage next turn either, because Necrolord
Also play
Draka would be the
Librarian.
only other damage, the only other way to get to the 4 damage.
All right, so Justin taking a lot of curse damage here.
That's lethal.
Huge draw. Finally found something good enough to be played here.
That is going to be lethal if he sees it, because the preparation allows him to play the Tooth and Nefarian, the Wicked Stab, and the Draka. And that will bring him up to 4 attack on the weapon, 3 attack from Tooth, 4 from Wicked Stab. That is 18 exactly.
There you go. Justin spots it, goes in, and that will be just enough. So even with Rogue whiffing quite often on what it wanted to do, still finds a way to get there, and Rogue taking the victory as expected as the counter deck. We are headed to a game 4 with Neji's Paladin, the only one that remains for him.
Okay, and that does mean Paladin gets to face Rogue, unless Neji has done something truly heinous. This Paladin should have an easy time.
All right, and before we dive into game 4, Justin says he's going to take a quick bathroom break, so we'll wait just a bit for the players to reset. But yeah, I would have to imagine that this Paladin is going to be fairly favored into Justin's Rogue, and will be set up for a very interesting Paladin Warlock clash in game 5 if the stats hold true in game 4.
Yes.
But you can't count the
Yeah.
victories before they happen. You still got to play the game, and Justin will have plenty of opportunity potentially to sneak in under the Paladin's defenses.
Yeah, Paladin can have some very clunky draws, especially if it draws some of the high end there. Rogue can just sort of finish it out from underneath that. Order in the Court, gets you your late game, but Rogue might make sure there is no late game.
Very true. Rogue capable of all kinds of nutty, crazy early turns that can just completely swing the outcome of a game. Maybe it's a huge Draka weapon early. Maybe it's a gigantic minion being made from a Sinstone graveyard. And I would expect the Draka weapon having probably the highest likelihood of success for an early win, since Paladin has so many ways to get rid of threatening minions on board.
Yeah, we might even see the Draka get Shadow Stepped being the pivotal decision point, since just that guaranteed weapon damage cannot get swallowed up by the Righteous Defense.
For sure. So looks like Justin has returned from his break. We are diving back into the matchup here. We'll start with a look at Neji's opening mull, just see if there happens to be any extra spicy looking cards.
My blade burns with
Bunker
Bunker,
Sergeant, you
yeah,
might
Bunker
think.
Sergeant's pretty standard-ish
It's
still.
Yeah. It in the most recent popular list, Bunker Sergeant has been added in. It was previously uh pretty spicy, but maybe it is a little bit spicy considering that Justin. Actually, no, never mind. Bunker Sergeant's going to be really good into Justin's Curse Imp lock. 1 health imps are not happy.
Absolutely, and just in general, it's also perfectly fine for what Paladin wants to do, because as long as there's 2 minions on the board, equality plus this just clears them out.
On Justin's side, I mean, extortion for trading and early knolls could be the choice, but None of that is especially scammy. None of that is your huge minions. So
You still want to at least keep one tradable, if not two. Justin going with a full keep. Oh, okay.
no.
I
Okay, I think
I
yeah.
was very
The
surprised by that.
the timer
Yeah.
almost running out made it look like it was a full keep.
All right, we see an Amber Watcher in Neji's list, almost certainly going to be the Jailer and Reno Paladin. Um, Justin here, going to do a early trade. Finds both Shrouds in hand and Maestra in hand already. You usually don't love seeing Maestra, but when you know you can't get Maestra from Shroud, it's at least a little bit better.
Yeah. The operative thing will be, can Justin avoid getting the stenographers from Shroud again?
True. The addition of stenographers in this deck makes it all the lower likelihood that you will find double null off a shroud, or you might be really highly considering a coin shroud play to play shroud on 3 again and just hope you get double null down on turn 2 for, extra early damage.
Okay, I don't think this is a good play from, okay, I won't say it's a bad play from Neji, but getting rid of the 3-mana 2/2 from your opening hand, that 3-mana 2/2 is just one of the best cards in Paladin, especially in that Paladin, finding early things to do, and he replaces it with another clunky late hand, which he can't play any cards from. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like that
Neji
decision.
maybe could have held off for another turn, just, press the button on turn 2 in order to play the Bannerman on turn 3 and then try to find the Order in the Court with Finley, but he does have the Order in Court in hand, so has a way to set up for things. Justin, uh, you know, going in and finding one of the nulls with that
Yeah,
first shroud.
Neji does not want to play Order in the Court, though. Order in the Court would make it so that Neji gets Denathrius. Great, never play. Gets Cariel. I mean, if you can make it to turn 8, uh, all these late game cards are going to make it so Neji takes a ton of damage in the mid game, and that would just be what Justin wants.
Yeah, you may need to wait just a bit longer on that Order in the Court. Here we see Justin playing out this first stealth null. Might not decide to do anything else here. Don't know if we really need to pay attention to either of these one attack minions on the board.
Yeah. This 3 damage can go face if we make sure not to unstealth this. Whereas if we trade, then quality might be in our future, or even a righteous defense.
Neji picking up a very important card here off the top for turn 4 now has a 5-mana combo that will clear up any threatening minion presence on the board, provided there are 2 minions or more on the opposite side. But not much to do on turn 4. This may be enough, though, to prompt him to play Order in the Court now, since he already has a turn 5 play with the Amber Watcher or Theatar.
I mean, in my opinion, you're going to need 2 board clears before you play your Order in the Court, but uh, maybe Neji just sends it anyways and thinks that he will get there. Justin doesn't have the multi layers of threats. He actually doesn't even have a first layer of threats yet. So perhaps it's enough.
All right, so Neji mousing that Order in the Court, and here it comes. Takes away all real opportunity to find the mid-game cards. Just going to commit to his late-game strategy at this point, saying Bunker Sergeant equality might just be enough. And here comes Justin's go-off turn. Rep Shroud.
Oh, yep, Stenographer's coming out. I mean, all of this is very temporary because we see the clear in Neji's hand, but
Ooh, big draw with
Edwin.
Bone Spike here. Prep
Edwin
Bone
going to be
Spike, make
huge.
something free. I want to hold off until that Stenographer actually costs 0.
And
Did we get a? Did I get a glitch? Did you get a glitch? Oh,
I mean, we can.
I didn't see
I'm
the
using a deck
options
tracker.
from Gone Fishing
I have not
being
seen any
offered.
options this entire time, but I
Ah,
am able to see the bottom of his deck with the deck tracker I'm using. So his other options were Extortion or Wicked Stab. I do think that this Backstab was the choice, though. So
okay. Justin with an option to commit a Shadow Step too, but it looks like he does not want to do that with the Edwin in hand, can save up for the Edwin step later. Just going to go in with this 10 attack dagger from Draka. And as we mentioned before, this is one of the main ways that Justin can find a way under the Paladin for damage. Neji going to just be forced. Throw down this Equality Bunker Sergeant right now. Clear up the scary damage. We can see,
yeah.
though, that if Justin goes Edwin step, there's a Theatar in Neji's hand to say you don't get to have your Edwin back.
Oh, I mean, it depends on how much Justin does end up drawing with this
True.
Edwin.
This first draw is super important, and
Okay.
it is not good enough, especially if Justin. Well, there's no way he'd commit that. So okay,
Okay.
Neji has a
It
very
is
high chance of taking Edwin.
Yeah. 3 and
And,
4.
And likely would be enough to actually hold on.
He's dead. He's dead if he does it.
He's
Wow.
dead.
Okay. He needs to Amber Watcher, but I feel like there's no way to know that unless you play your Theo. And if he plays
You're-
Theo, he's gonna have to take Wicked Stab or Tooth.
Yeah, but he won't see that it's. He will know that Justin is holding,
Ooh.
Just one damage card, not necessarily two. The other card would have to be exactly Wicked Stab.
And that's a
Um,
terrible set of options too on the other side.
because
Giving
he did
away.
not get offered Edwin Stab Tooth or no Edwin. He got offered the exact set of options maybe that he needed for Justin to win this game. I
Wow.
think
And
Neji's going to take this Edwin and it's going to be over.
yeah, Justin. Sorry. Neji already did select the Edwin. Right now, he's just selecting what he's going to give Justin. So Justin is going to win this game.
Oh,
off
I
the
didn't
back
see
of
the
this
choice. Oh, wow.
secret- Yeah, this
Yeah.
sneaky Wicked Stab,
This
Tooth
choice
Nefarian
doesn't
ending.
matter. Brutal for Neji as Justin has exactly enough damage. We'll see if he also takes the Tooth Discover at the end, of course. And wow, it happened. Rogue found a way under the Paladin, and that's game. Justin taking it down in 4. Rogue coming up huge in the series.
And yeah, I think it's time we might be able to get him in for an interview. I know it's quite late on the East Coast, but for them, it's the West Coast. Yeah, that is a crazy reversal. Both the reversal with the Druid over the DH, and then the reversal the Rogue over the Paladin. 2 huge games from Justin.
Yeah, really well played. Just worked out perfectly. Everything that he would have wanted to play out, just the way that it happened to go, and there you have it. Justin, congratulations, big win there.
Thanks. I am undefeated on the hero season, as long as you don't look at the previous weeks.
Nice.
Uh,
So talk to us about that set of matches. How were you feeling going into this game, seeing your Druid go straight into an aggro Demon Hunter in game 1?
I mean, I wrote on the team channel beforehand that I never know what to queue first on hero, and I'm way too lazy to make a Nash simulator, so I'm like, I'll just throw out the Druid first. I think it's fine to anything but DH. And then they brought the DH, but don't worry, I just drew well.
Yeah, Neji had a very clunky draw, no early pressure at all, and
Yeah, he didn't even get like.
it was
turn
rough.
2 Chaos Strike plus Metamorphin was okay, and then he refilled, but not on turn 4 with the 5-4. Like, he just had no 5-4s to pressure, but even then, he didn't hit, like, Satheno plus Predation or a hero card or anything.
Yeah.
Like my draw wasn't the dream, but it was pretty close to it. It was probably like 70th percentile, 80th percentile, something
I
like
mean,
that.
you missed on the armor card. That was about it.
Yeah, having double ramped into Topier made it so I didn't even need armor.
Yeah. So that went really well. Of course, you won that early game one unfavorable. Not too surprising. The Warlock, took it to the Druid, and you didn't have much of a chance there. But
I
then
even
Rogue.
drew better game two than I did game one. He just like decided to actually draw Hearthstone cards game two.
Oh yeah, yeah. Warlock was never losing that game. It was
I had double
insane.
ramp into Topier into like
And Guff,
other
yeah.
things as well. I'm not
But
sure.
Rogue was an MVP for you here.
Game two was really weird because I like held on to a Vate plus Planted Evidence. I saved them till next game, so like obviously maybe I should have used them at some point, especially going that final turn when I was dead to any curse, and I missed as well that I was dead to the Drag Below. Somehow just brain farted and thought I was not leaving up a board, so like there's some worlds where he can't Drag Below if he's stuck with like Malkazar's Imp in hand.
I mean, you had so few options there because he had
Yeah,
double
I mean, I just had to
double
like, I
curse
made-
card for exactly 6 mana. So you would have had to do something like the discover card into making his minion dormant and then
Evidence
playing
ended
Guff
it.
or
I saved
something
till next
like.
game. I could have like Vated out. I mean, the turn always started with the Quag form because I had two of them, but I could have Vated out the second one to YOLO for Raid Boss and Nixie or Sire. No, that wouldn't have even been good enough. I guess I just had to YOLO Vate the Planted for exactly Earth and Scales for like 3 armor, and then hope I like flopped into more healing next turn.
Geranium did notice that there was one option you could have considered, which was trying to find scales off of the aquatic before
Previous
the
turn.
11 attack minion smacked you again, instead of
that was
playing
definitely possible as well.
the Miracle Growth. And as it happened, it was actually on the bottom of the deck, but a pretty reasonable
Yeah.
option, I think, to go the taunt.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. I definitely
What
could have
I-
done. Oh yeah,
what I
wait,
thought
that
was gonna
would've been
happen?
so much better. I
What I
assumed
thought-
that the 10-10 would tank the 11, but did not.
It was
Right.
also a
think that
9-9.
through fully. It was definitely worth using a Miracle Growth there. Wow, that was really bad. I might have won had I done that.
Yeah, I mean, hard to say. There was
Oh, that was really
also
bad. That was totally worth the aquatic like equity to use that there because I had the Vade as well. Like I could have. Even if I hit like Sire or something, I could just set it top because I had the big hand size and could Vade it out next turn or Raid Boss next, yeah. Okay.
Despite that, though, very, very tough to get the unfavorable win with the Druid, with the draw.
Don't worry,
that
I simply drew
actually
well in the other games to spare my blushes from like tossing a bit
Well,
of
I
equity
wouldn't
game
call
two.
the Rogue game 3 a good draw. It was
I don't
very
know. I was
disappointing
on
for you a
point
lot of the
as
way.
1 in 9 for Warlock. Like he drew quite well too. I mean, my Eddie, the very first chain hit a null. It was unfortunate later some of the other Eddie chains of not getting any 1-cost things, and my Shroud hitting the 1 in 3 low roll to give me double Steno, which were dead instead of null. But overall, I think that was a pretty strong draw for like both of us, and just narrowly squeaked it out. I
So
was really dizzy that turn 6. There were so many options. I just prayed and got very lucky that it.
yeah,
literally
Warlock
sniped the
came
team.
really close to actually beating that Rogue with, I think, your clunky draws.
Yeah,
Were
to
you
match Tour 5, I
expecting?
bring that matchup a lot when Laneby Rogue first came out, because Zoo was like one of the most brought decks, and that's how it beats it, just by going wide early to get in chip damage and then like finishing off with curses. And that's also how Miracle Rogue beats most decks by 1 in 9ing Warlock hero power on coin, a 1 in 18. Like what the fuck?
That was pretty funny to see the Warlock come up. But I did want to ask you for game 4, were you expecting just that you were going to be headed to a game 5 Warlock versus Paladin, or were you feeling confident on that Rogue going in? Because we know most of the time Rogue does not do great into Paladin, but you had just enough to get under.
Yeah, I mean, you know the stats of the matchup, but you can't let that affect your play. You're still just trying to find the outs. Like the good players are the ones who win unfavorables, who don't mentally resign themselves to defeat before it begins. And yeah, around turn 2, when I saw a double Shroud in hand when I'm on coin, I'm like, okay, this could be a game. Turn 3, I rip the first Shroud, get Null plus Draka, going, okay, well, this is my game to lose now. And then turn 4, he rips Order after like not playing much early. Like there's no Sunfish to get in my way. I presume he's not running Viper / can't play around it. Going, okay, well then, this this seems
Yeah.
like it's gonna be a rogue win.
Yeah.
And that early Sir Finley also throwing away the early 3-mana 2/2 as well from him. So he sort of like got rid of his early game to then get into the order.
Oh, interesting. He pitched game, man. Yeah,
It was
I haven't
close.
played that
Funny
matchup a
enough,
bunch from either
Theotar
side.
happened to be the absolute death of Neji because he was holding an Amber Watcher, but you definitely can't fault him, for playing
That's really funny.
Theotar.
I demoed him when he played it because whatever, 4-card hand. I guess it was really unlikely he saw everything. It was only 1 and 4 that he saw that I had both double burn and Edwin.
Yeah, he got
yeah,
offered the exact perfect set of options for you to win the game. Because no shot he's taking deal 3 damage, and your mystery card is deal 4 damage from his perspective when the other option is Edwin for 2
Yeah.
mana.
I mean, even if he steals Wicked Stab there, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know the Paladin hand, but I would assume the Rogue is pretty good equity if he doesn't have, like, Righteous Defense for the Eddy, because it's just going to be, like, a...
Oh, you're
8/8
most
or
likely
10/10 or
winning
something.
anyway, yeah, if he takes the damage.
Yeah,
But he's not
yeah, just with
immediately
the,
dead,
uh,
like obviously he was.
I've had a 1-turn window before the Carriel came down and healed out of range to attack face with the Eddy, which, given his deck was ordered, was probably enough. Maybe not with Amber Watcher, though. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the Amber Watcher would have come down. The
If he goes
Eddy
Amber
would have been
Watcher, Hero
uncontested
Power,
though
and
for a
2
turn.
Carriel, he's not even clearing that 8/8 or 10/10 Edwin, so like it's attacking once for that and once for half the amount. Oh, it's been close, but fortunately, you didn't see that I had both the. I guess it was a 50-50 for one of the burns to be hidden from his view, in which case he just like always takes the Eddy.
Yeah, and we're caught up on stream here now, so we see his options were Maestra, Edwin, and Tooth. So he takes the Edwin, and of course that was the exact damage you needed for the victory. So congrats
Yeah.
once again for leading your team to that early game or match 1 victory. APM now has the 4-1 advantage in this Hero Series Championship.
Yeah, neat. I mean, I'm told on a sample size of 1 season, approaching 2 seasons now, I'm told 100% of the time Neji loses in Hero Finals, it's a Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic loss, his team goes on to win the series. So,
It is
Yeah.
it is the strat. It's the strat that is outlined by their team logo itself. So a lot of matches yet to be played. Should be some exciting stuff. Hopefully, we can get some more Hero Championship on stream. But
yeah,
thank
I
you
saw
for leading us
3
off,
of the
Justin.
5 matches, including this one, were scheduled to be on stream, so that's pretty sick.
Nice.
Pretty good coverage.
More, I will say more specifically, even Neji last season lost 3-1 to German Shep. So this could be the makings of perhaps a reversal. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, someone's gonna get their streak broken. I've won 2 Hero titles in a row, and APM has lost 2 Hero finals in a row, so, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it was a
lose-lose.
solid strategy, honestly. One of these has to give. So props to APM for snatching you up on their team and saying, hey, we can't lose to Justin anymore if Justin's on the team. And pays off early to the tune of a 4-1 lead. So we'll see if the team can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're really is funny we're here. We had 13 points per week in the regular season. Like, they made the playoffs harder this season, but somehow we snuck in. Like, that's... I'm no THL historian, but that has to be one of the worst points per game weeks averages to ever get in playoffs. We were shitty as fuck in the regular season, but
we are still
3-2 victories in a row.
Hey,
suddenly we're in
regular
finals.
season
Like,
doesn't matter.
hey,
It's a
yo.
new season in playoffs. You guys did what you
Their
had
team,
to do.
we are not the best team. Their team is way better than us. If they face us 10
Whoa.
times, I don't know the number they'll win, but we'll be more than 5. But hey, they're not facing us 10 times. They're only facing us 1 time.
All right, strong, confident, supportive words for his team from Justin. Love to see it.
Yeah, I will say not only were we a 13 point per week team going into playoffs. We are still lower than almost every single team in Teal Conference in points per week, even after winning.
Over the last 5 weeks of the regular season, Wild 9, over 5 weeks, picked up a cumulative total of 1 point.
Oh my.
In playoffs, he's 2-0. We've won 6 matches in playoffs. Everyone has won once, and he's won twice. He's why we're in finals, baby.
Solid.
Yeah. Okay, going back to that game 4, that not only was my draw discussing with Rogue, but it kept getting better. The turn 4 top decking prep to enable me to then like prep bone and play even more cards.
Oh, it was absurd.
Get
Yeah.
out the Draco while being able to conserve the step in hand for Eddie for his second wave if he cleared it. That was just like absolutely insane.
We
Yeah,
were
your
talking about it
prep top
beforehand
decks.
how, big Draka was probably your only realistic path to victory for the Rogue over the Paladin. And then it happened exactly on turn 4 with some perfect draws. So sometimes it works out, and your team doing what needs to be done so far. We'll see if they can get
Call
through
it
the rest of the
Miracle Rogue
way.
for a reason. That was a miracle draw.
Always Miracle Rogue. Well, with that does put an end to the matches that we had for tonight. As you saw, Justin taking that first victory, but a lot of Hearthstone left to be played between Clowntown and APM. Justin, any final words for the stream before we call it a night?
No.
Awesome.
Make sure you quote that. No.
If you guys win the championship, that is 100% the first thing I'm going to be spamming. Any final words, Justin?
Which
no.
one? Which one are you talking about?
Oh yeah, too many.
Specifically joking about pro.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool that Neji and I got this out of the way earlier this week, so we can scheme and make really bad lineups to throw pro finals together, rather than having to keep our distance tomorrow for submission against some random team that.
Yeah.
We'll,
Who even knows?
Totally, totally be our best at against, obviously.
All right. Well, again, congratulations. Thank you for being on stream, and thank you for bringing back the return of Tuesday Night Bar Fights, which we've had, I think, a full year and a half gap from the last time Tuesday Night Bar Fight was on, and it was also a Hero Championship match. So exciting to see that, and congrats once more to you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Real final thoughts. Yeah, I'm probably taking a step back from Hearthstone THL. It's just pretty done with the game. Accomplished all my goals with it. So thanks so much for a good maybe last match on stream at least. It's always been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for coming on as
awesome.
always, man. I really appreciate all the times you come on stream, the amazing plays, the your insight into everything. Thank you.
And if it does happen to be your last match on the stream, it was a good one to go out on for sure.
Not a bad one. I wonder if you could tally up all my stream matches, my overall record. It definitely has to be like smack dab 50%.
Nice.
Like half the time I get to talk to you guys, half the time I don't.
It's what more could you want from Hearthstone than a coin flip?
Yeah.
But definitely been a pleasure having you in THL. If this does happen to be your last match for the foreseeable future, and I'm sure we'll see you around in in other social aspects in the future.
All right.
Fish, any last things to add before we close it out here for the night?
Nothing. Nothing concerning the match from my end, but we do have Friday matches. We don't have another stream until Friday at this point. There is a slight possibility, depending on when Pan and Cooks want to do their interview, we might have a Thursday or Friday afternoon stream for them. But yeah, it's been a great game to get this match together. Best of luck to the rest of the teams going forward. So Friday night we have an 8 p.m. match, which is Corridon versus Rescription in Diamond 5 versus How I Met Your Murgle. And then at 10 p.m., I believe, we have, I believe it's another
Rescription
hero
again.
match. It is Rescription versus Laughing
Laughing
Frog
Frog.
in Hero Series. So,
Right, big week for Rescription fans.
yes, he's getting 2 matches in a row. He's getting both his matches out of the way within a couple of hours. So yeah, we are still looking since we have an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock, a 9 o'clock match would be very nice to kind of fill that gap, to not give us a massive wait time. But that is only if people are willing to play on stream. But we encourage you to do so. And I want to thank Ron and Geranium for sticking with me for coming to do the cast after Heart Center. That was a great show for Heart Center and a really good Tuesday night bar fights. And that's our show for tonight. We will. I wish everyone a good rest of your evening and good rest of your week until next stream.
Right on. Have a good night, everybody.